Boom. Come on, Naeem. You know what? Forget it. No Brazilian funk today. We're getting right into the stream. Action, baby. Action. Hold on. Here we go. Mr. Producer. See that name? Mr. Producer. We got all them hoes. I said, Mr. Producer. We got all them hoes. Name. We are about to go on the generational bull run where multimillionaires will be printed out of 14-year-olds. And coping will be done across generations, across the masses. They don't even know what they're missing out on right now, Naeem. Their minds can't even comprehend what they don't know. They have no idea what's about to take place with this run-up on Pepe, with the run-up on Hype and Purr, with the run-up on Brett, Andy, and Wolf, with the run-up on, it's unfortunate to say, but Fartcoin. The run-up will be absolutely historic, life-changing, bloodline retiring. We thought there would be a further pullback on Bitcoin than what we got. Maybe we leave all the sideliners crying in bed asleep. Oh, Bitcoin back to 92K. Oh, Bitcoin back to 94K. Oh, Bitcoin back to 84K. And then I'll position. And then I'll buy. Maybe we leave them all in the dust as we run to new all-time highs past $130,000 up to $150,000 on Bitcoin. Huh? Maybe we leave the sideliners fucking in shambles as I pull up the screen capture and show us the charts. Mi bomba. Ready here. Boom, boom. Show it. Come on. Hold on, Naeem. Love the show, bruh. My man. Let's fucking rock it. Show it. Hold on. We're getting right into it. We already got double-digit live viewers within the first few moments. I love it, ladies and gentlemen. It's game time. Let's take a look. How are we making money this cycle, huh? Boom. We're not starting with the meme coins today, so don't get too excited. We'll get to Purr here in a moment, okay? Quick update. Dollar is nuking. Bumbaclat, that means we're going to get rich. Dollar's nuking. Send it to fucking Hades, okay? Give you the context again. Let's go on the weekly. I put this up here. This was back in February and March. I said, who could have foreseen this? Up in here, back in March and February, I said DXY breakdown here is bullish. What happened? Broke down. Look at where we stopped. Exactly where I drew the supply. Then I drew another arrow like this, saying we're nuking to this level. What happened? Nuked, came down to this level. What do? We start reversing in the market. We start coming back up higher on altcoins and on Bitcoin. Push up, boom, nuke. We lost the supply. Now that we've lost supply, what does that mean? Well, the only next level that we have is this demand down below. So this is going to be this level. Keep in mind, what was this level? December of 21 was last what? Last bull market. Last alt season. That's whenever Bitcoin did the double top. You had altcoins like Shiba Inu, run to, multi-billions of dollars of market cap, which ended up flipping Doge and marked the end of the cycle, right? But that was the last time that the dollar was here. We're coming into that level again. Well, the last time we had a major alt season was at this level. Well, what do you think is going to happen this time when we hit this level? Even better, God willing, DXY breaks down to this level. We're looking for this 90 to 89. December, May of 21. First run up in altcoins last cycle. Dogecoin up to $90 billion market cap. This is when multimillionaires were printed within a couple of months. This level. Last bull market, 2 cycles ago, happened where? At this level. That's where we're coming for. Nuke it, send it to Hades. Okay? So the DXY is where we wanted to be at. Another indicator we want to take a look at quickly. So let's look at the... Where is it? No way they got rid of it. No way. What? Yeah, it's right here. Look at this, ladies and gentlemen. Who could have foreseen this? I've been talking about this for months, so I need credit where credit is due. And for those of you who listened, you're up multiples and multiples on your money right now. Okay, you're up big money right now. Why? Because I've told you, I've said this. Global liquidity, markets, equity markets, crypto, all this shit is based off of liquidity. If the liquidity is there, markets will move up. If liquidity gets drained, if liquidity gets taken out of the markets, markets come down, okay? And so you have this global M2. Global M2 is the monetary supply across the whole world, okay? Monetary supply being what the Fed, the U.S. government, the U.S. Fed puts out into markets, what the European bank does, what the Japanese bank does, what the Chinese bank, etc. These federal reserves, they provide liquidity to their nations. This liquidity ends up finding itself in markets. So as these nations provide liquidity, that's how markets will behave because there's now more money in the supply. This is why right after COVID, you saw everything go fucking ballistic after that nuke in March of 2020. If you look at the S&P from March of 2020, it was up only since then. Okay, down here. Okay, you get this massive nuke. Everybody lost their minds. Everybody thought it was over. Everything's going to zero. You get this 35% drawdown in equities, which for crypto guys, that means nothing. We're used to 80% drawdowns. But everybody was cowards. G-Did sold the bottom, and then we were literally up only all the way through January of 2022, right? Why did that happen? Why were we up only for 2 years? For 2 years, we did not go down. Because after COVID, they had to print a lot of money to stimulate the economy. They increased the monetary supply by 40%. They almost doubled the monetary supply within a year. Well, you can see that take place over here. Look at this. Look at this right here. COVID. March of 2020. What happened right after COVID? Literally straight up only for 2 years. That's whenever the bull market stopped, when it stopped moving up. They almost doubled, they added 50% of the monetary supply. Huge. That's why markets went ballistic. Ever since then, we've been kind of moving in a range, okay? So you could say something like this. Okay? Ever since last bull market, we've been ranging with the global M2, the liquidity, okay? So we're ranging in here, meaning that the monetary supply isn't really growing. It either came down, and you noticed how as the monetary supply decreased this entire time, what happened to Bitcoin and equity markets? You go into a bear market. That's when bear markets occur. Bear markets occur whenever liquidity, monetary supply is decreasing, meaning that there's less money out there circulating. Well, if there's less money circulating, there's less money in markets. So the markets come down. So you see, as soon as global M2 comes down, this is when you enter this bear market for Bitcoin and also equities and other assets. But of course, we're in crypto. So BTC and crypto goes into a bear market, right? Because liquidity. As we hit this low, notice where the low on Bitcoin was. Right here. You see? So global liquidity bottoms, Bitcoin bottoms, right? Lowest liquidity, lowest bottom in the bear market. Since here, we've been ranging up on global liquidity until finally July of 24, August 24, we broke out of the range on the global monetary supply. We finally broke out. Well, when we finally broke out, what was this in context? Look at where we finally broke out over here. So we finally break out on global liquidity to all-time highs. Now it's at new all-time highs in September. What happened over here? Boom, Bitcoin shoots to new all-time highs. Isn't that interesting how that's correlated, right? So this is a leading indicator. Leading indicator meaning that whatever happens on this chart first Later is what's going to happen in equities and in crypto. So you break out to new all-time highs on global liquidity for the first time since the COVID last bull market. We go into new all-time highs for Bitcoin. There's new money, more money than there was before. Make sense? Beautiful. So we shoot, we pump. We pump on liquidity, we pump on Bitcoin. Notice, interesting how everything works out, with almost everything works out on a TA level, which is nice. Is, like I was saying, you have this range on global liquidity, and as soon as you break out of the range, we go to new all-time highs on Bitcoin, but then we draw back down, and just TA, it works. You come down and you retest the top of the range that we had right here. So look, global liquidity pulls back, you retest the top of the range. Well, what do you do on Bitcoin? Well, global liquidity just came back and retested this range. This is a leading indicator, meaning that, okay, probably a pullback in equities and in crypto. Look what happens. You get a pullback on Bitcoin, right? Pullback in global liquidity, pullback on Bitcoin. And then what I started saying in March, April, if you go back and watch the live streams, and for those inside the Discord know this, what I had been saying since this retest of the range on global liquidity, we've now started pumping higher, and not only higher, but new all-time highs. Now global liquidity is the highest it's ever been, and it's continuing to shoot up higher. Look, this is on the daily time frame. It's at all-time highs as we currently speak, global liquidity. What do you think that means for risk assets? What do you think that means for markets? We're not going into a bear market right now, ladies and gentlemen. You don't go into a bear market whenever liquidity is increasing, okay? So this is a leading indicator. I said, oh, global liquidity is pumping. Guess what's going to happen to Bitcoin? Bitcoin's going to pump. Cycle's not over. It's going to go higher, right? So it starts pumping from here. Bitcoin bottoms right here, right? So it's mirroring this down move. Hits here. This is a leading indicator. Now this is going up to new all-time highs. Bitcoin is finally catching up. Bitcoin is now pumping. Because liquidity is at new all-time highs, I expect Bitcoin to go to new all-time highs. You see that? So that's the context in which we're trading in which we're investing in. Not the end of a bull run. This is just the beginning of it. This is just the beginning of this leg, okay? So this, on a lower time frame, more zoomed in, you say, oh man, are we going to break to new all-time highs? What's going on? Are we pulling back now? Etc. Yeah, we are. Does anybody know exactly when? No. Could be tomorrow, could be next week. But at some point, whether we draw back down to 97K, 96K, pump back up to, 114 and reject, whatever it may be, we're going up higher on a long enough time frame. The cycle's not done. It's not cooked, right? Because we're going into favorable liquidity conditions. So with that being said, now you got to say, well, how do I want to position for this next leg up if I'm pretty confident that the bull market's not done? Bull market's not over. ETH, another indicator that this market wants to go higher. ETH is showing incredible strength in comparison to Bitcoin and Solana. So we've been looking at these charts. ETH BTC is trying to move up higher. Sol BTC, Sol ETH nuking, meaning what? That Ethereum is outperforming Solana. Why is that important for us as investors into ETH beta? Well, because if this chart is nuking in a bull market environment, what that means is for this chart to be coming down, ETH has to be pumping that much harder than Solana, right? Sol ETH is the relationship of the value of Ethereum, the value of Solana divided by Ethereum. So if this chart is moving down, that means Ethereum's appreciating faster than Solana to the upside and depreciating slower than Solana to the downside for this chart to come down lower. So for this to be nuking and coming down to this demand zone, which is where I believe it's going to settle down at, which is quite a ways away, in a bull market environment where the price of Solana USD is going up, for this chart to be coming down, that means Ethereum USD has to be pumping that much harder. So if Sol's up 10%, ETH's going to be up, if Sol's up 5%, ETH is going to be up 10%. Make sense? So we're going into a favorable environment for us, gentlemen. Okay, those of us with the ETH beta that have been waiting for years, positioning, etc., we're going into a favorable environment. So this is where we're at on Bitcoin. It's pretty simple. I mean, if you want to throw some VWAPs on there just to see where we're at. Look at this. So clearly we're trading around this VWAP 30-day, clearly. So, you know, we came up, we nuked down onto it, we used it to support, we lost, it came back up, chewed back through it, came back down. Look at this. Who could have foreseen? A perfect tag, perfect retest of the VWAP. In my opinion, that means we're pretty much good to go. I don't see any reason for us to keep messing about in this area. We should start sending here very soon because we retested it, turned it back into support. We should be launching off of this like a fucking launch pad. Okay, so that's where we're at with Bitcoin. There's another thing interesting to look at with Bitcoin, just to tell when cycles are done or not. Let's go on a weekly, get a little bit more data. So here's how you can see when a bull market is, you know, getting cooked. Let's see if we do it on the daily. Does that help? No, not really. All right, let's do it on the weekly. Just want to show you something. Okay, so from last cycle, when did we know we were topped on the VWAPs? By looking at the VWAPs. So the blue is 30-day, and then you have, you know, 60, 90, 180, and 365. 365, the yearly VWAP is this gray VWAP right here, okay? So you can see the colors, hold on. Okay, 365 is the gray one, 180 is purple, 90-day VWAP is the green, 60-day VWAP is the red, 30-day is the blue, okay? So let's pay attention to the gray one, the 365-day VWAP. Last cycle, when we got a double top, why was that significant, okay? So you get this one huge run up in April, May of 2021, right? Right as the DXY had nuked down to that level I showed you at the beginning. Come back down. Look where we found support at. So we come back down, we jeet hard, and we find support at the 365-day VWAP. Bounce up off of it, pump all the way up to all-time highs again, do a double top. This ended up being the top of the cycle. But how do we know? How do we know when to exit and when it's actually the top? You come all the way back down, and instead of using the 360-day VWAP as support, as we did over here, we actually lost it considerably for a while, for a couple of months, until we came back up into it, and we actually rejected and shot back down, okay? So ideally, this would have been your shoulder to get the fuck out if you hadn't gotten out up in here, okay? So this is where you get out. This is the shoulder. It's when you lose that 365-day VWAP. So let's take a look at where we're at right now. So we lost it. We go into a bear market. You're well below it. You know, you stayed well below it. Finally, you come back up into it again. You reject again one more time. And then as soon as you break through with conviction, you're back up above it. That's bull market conditions. So right now you're in from here. Boom, you break through. Now you're in a bull market. Okay. So we've stayed above it this entire bull run. Okay, you come into your 6-month range, 8-month range. We tagged it, pumped up off of it again. And then look what we did here. This was the first time this cycle that we came back down and used the 365-day VWAP as support on Bitcoin, but we didn't lose it. We pumped back up to here. So we turned it into support. So what's the difference between what we did over here? We came back down, we turned it into support, but then you had one more big run up, okay? Until you lost it. And that's when cycle's over. Here, this was the first major hit on it. We're due for another big run up before we come back down and tag it and lose it. And that's when we go into a bear market. So again, context being, we didn't lose this VWAP. We're not in a position to say, oh, okay, well, we're probably cooked on this cycle. No, it doesn't make sense. We're still way up here. Here's the 365, okay? We also have other indicators that I pay attention to, like the NVIDIA Bitcoin pair, right? Or the Bitcoin NVIDIA pair, which we can take a look at right now. So Yeah, BTC, I have no worries about this. If you guys want to see some targets, I'll show you some targets quickly. Okay. On BTC. So this is where I expect BTC to go. Okay. Okay. Here are the fibs on Bitcoin. Bigger picture, we're in a massive 4-year reaccumulation range. Okay. Top, bottom, grinded into the top of the range again. Finally, we got the breakout. When you get a breakout in a bull market, why do we use fibs? You typically hit the 1.618. What do? We come right up into the 1.618. We start distributing. This was our top. So it called the top on the first leg up. Well, if it called the top on the first leg up, and look how we turned this pullback. It's interesting how these always play. Because people are like, oh, why do we bounce where we bounced at? Well, it actually makes sense where we pump back up from. This is the 1.618. So what we did is we shot up and we actually created support out of the 1.618. We tried to break out, came back down. Look where we did. We turned it into support again and then we bounced. So that's confirmation that we're going to go up higher to me. Unless we lose this fib, then we lose the fib and you come back down. So what's the next target for Bitcoin? Well, why have I been saying 156,000? I'm not looking to be conservative here. Other people are giving super conservative targets like 130, 125. I don't see that, not personally. I see this. This is the next fib. If this fib played, I would expect this fib to play. So, in my opinion, the next leg up on Bitcoin should see us top out at 156,000. Okay? That's another 43%, 44% move. Massive move. Okay? So that's what I see on Bitcoin. I see us coming up to that 2.618, right? So with that in mind, I say, all right, cycle's not over. I believe Bitcoin goes higher. Well, obviously ETH goes higher because of that. So what happens to our precious, what the fuck? Precious shit coins. Try to say that 10 times fast. Okay. Pepe, primed. Primed for a leg. Demand, who could have foreseen? Pump, a little pullback, send it to highs, new highs. Brett, send it to new highs. Andy, new highs. Wolf, new highs, send them. Hype, let's take a look at this quickly. I'm actually going to show you guys a different meme coin today. Let's go on hype. Okay. Altcoin leader. Hyperliquid. Okay. Altcoin leader. This thing is running. Okay. It's almost at all-time high. Well, it is pretty much at all-time highs right now. Okay. So why are we paying attention to Hyperliquid? 1.618 is at $45. This is where I'm expecting the first pause. Okay, so this is going to drift up into here until Bitcoin breaks out to new all-time highs, and then you're going to see it run hard. Where is it going to run to? 2.618, which would be Confluence is right here. Oops. The fuck. Okay, we're gonna pause out right here at the 1.618. Okay, right about 45 doll hairs. Okay, Bitcoin breaks the new highs. Hype is gonna teleport to $65, $66. Fib Confluence. You got the 1.618 on the log and the 2.618 on the linear. Teleport. Why is that important for our per bags? Why are we loading up per? And we have been loading up per. Because Hyperliquid is heading to new all-time highs. It's about to hit the next fib. All-time highs on per, which is the beta to hype. All-time highs on per is at 70 cents. Right now we're at 29. So what do you think is going to happen when people rotate all their profits, all that money that they have in hype, stored on the Hyperliquid exchange, right? Because that's where you have to hold your hype at. All these people are about to start taking profits at $65, $66 on hype. They made 2, 3x on millions and millions of dollars. They got all this bread they want to take profits off of. Okay, where are they going to park that money to get more multiples? Well, what's the beta to hype that's on the same exchange which they're holding all their hype on? Per. So what do you think they're going to do? Easy transaction, easy process, makes sense logically. They're going to take those millions of dollars that they're profiting, that they're taking profits on off of hype, and they're going to rotate that right back down into the beta to hype to catch a couple more multiples, which is per. Per is not even at all-time highs right now. It's a couple multiples off of its all-time highs. Okay, it's 2.5x from its all-time high. So if hype is at new highs right now and it's going to continue to move higher, do you think per is going to make new all-time highs on this next leg up? Me? Yes, I do. So not only do you have a 2.5x just back to all-time highs, but you have more room to run after that when we go into price discovery. So this is why this is such a fantastic beta play, and why you see the bid on this is so strong, and why I've been buying so much per on top of, because I have plenty of ETH beta. My Pepe bags are packed. My Andy, my Wolf, my Brett. I've been buying that shit for years. I have plenty of it. Okay. Now, if you don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars in those ETH beta plays, then yeah, I would continue to buy those as well. But I'm good. So I'm looking at what are other ways to be diversified for this next leg up. What are the clear winners in the market? Well, Pepe on ETH, and then you have hype and per. Per is going to run. Okay. It's going to run hard. So I've been accumulating this whole time, starting at this demand zone right here. And then I've been buying in this little region right here. And I clipped in another one right in this wick around 26, 25 cents. Okay. So yeah, I'm bringing my average price up, but for how much more room there is to run on it, I'm okay with that. I just want more exposure to the hype ecosystem because it's growing, it's sexy, it has mind share right now. It's going to continue to gain mind share. It's going to continue to increase in volume, continue to increase in user base. For me, it makes sense. And it's not even easy to access the exchange. A lot of countries you can't access it in. It's not difficult, but it's not easy to get money onto the exchange because you have to send over fucking Arbitrum USDC, or you have to send over ETH and Solana and then sell it to be able to trade on perps, etc. There's a couple of steps to it. It's not just easy as Coinbase. So as it becomes more accessible to people as well, naturally, the user base is going to grow. So for it to be doing as well as it's doing right now while not being easy to access is huge. So I expect hype to continue to run. So per will do the same. I love this play. I love this play. So I'm already up quite a bit on this position. Okay. So per... This chart on TradingView doesn't even have all the price history. If you look on the Hyperliquid exchange, if you actually go to Hype, the website, they'll show you the full price history of this coin because they're the ones who launched per back in November of 24, and then a month later launched Hype whenever they did the airdrop for everybody. That's the other thing with Hyperliquid that's important too to understand, because I have all the gentlemen inside of the Discord using Hype now, Hyperliquid the exchange, and make sure you're using the referral code, the Taylor's code referral code, because it gives you discounts on your trading fees, which for anybody watching the live stream live right now, if you don't, I'm going to put it in the chat for the live stream. I'm going to give you guys the referral code. All right, let's go ahead and put this in here. Why? Because it gives you discounts, and guess what, it also makes me money. So why don't you do us both a favor, do this. Let's see if it works. I sent it in the chat. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. There's your referral link. Okay, use that to get on Hyperliquid, get fees, or get your discount on your fees. And the point I was making is by getting points and doing volume and doing the different things that you can on the Hyperliquid exchange, you can actually get airdrops down the road where they're going to airdrop you the hype token, which is money free money just for you using the exchange, right? So why wouldn't you do that? Make money just for using a great product as opposed to using some other exchange where they're not going to give you any kind of airdrop, right? So anyways, this doesn't give you all the price history. The all-time highs on Per was in the 70-cent range, okay? So just to get back to all-time highs, even for where we're at right this second, if we go to 70 cents, you're looking at a 2.5x, right? 2.5x just from here. If you go to new highs, which I would expect at the very least, you've got 3.25x. Okay, that's nice. I like that. I like a little soft toss 3x. A soft toss 3x on size. So at least 10 G's. That's a nice little fucking play. 10 into 35 into 40. I'll take that. So that's the soft toss, I believe, that play. Let me get these in log. So that's on log. Interesting. Interesting that they go to the same place. So I'm just looking at this. Fib Confluence at 95 cents. Next target would be 150. So this would be my base. I believe we run to... Naeem, what are you fucking crying about? I believe we run to... That's realistic to me. $1.50, that's a 5x. That's realistic to me. $1.50, 5x in the right conditions. That makes sense to me. So I see that happening. And that's not that crazy of a market cap. You got to remember, Per's only 200 mil, 300 mil market cap. Shit can run for sure. It's got plenty of room to run. Hyperliquid's already at multiple billion-dollar asset. All right. And then last but not least, let's take a look at the altcoin chart. Okay. So here's where we're at in a micro. Broke the downtrend. We called this. We said, all right, break the downtrend. We're bullish again. Guess what? We're bullish. I said, this is your demand zone. Okay. Broke out from the middle of the range. This was our first pump into here. Retest mid-range. Broke down. And where do we come back into? Perfect demand. I said, here's where you bid your altcoins. I had this from weeks ago. I said, bid your altcoins here. We came back into the demand. What do? You bid your altcoins here. Great. You hit the peak, go low. We're back above the mid-range. We're coming back down. We're retesting the mid-range. I expect us to start running from here as long as Bitcoin goes. So then we should start running from here. I would not be waiting to get positioned any longer. If we lose the mid-range, we come back down to this demand zone. I'm bidding again in here. So this is your bid in here, and this is your bid. This is generational bid. This is your low. We're not going to get this again. But here, you bid. Here, you're bidding. Okay? Either one. So, again, context on a larger scale. We're not even close to getting back to all-time highs on the altcoin chart. So you have so much room to run from where we're at here currently, just even to get back to all-time highs. All-time highs was back last cycle. We haven't even hit all-time highs on this altcoin chart. So this is including the top 10 assets. 2017 cycle, 2021 cycle, 2025, I guess, would be the top. It's likely this year, right? I'm expecting this chart to hit the 1.618 minimum. Breakout. Imagine where Pepe's at. Imagine where the boys club is at. Imagine hype, per, all those assets. I'm going to show you also ETH on a macro. So locally, ETH this cycle has been in this range right here. So the range being from 4,100 down to this little deviation, but it was 1,700. Okay. We're not back at range highs yet. We broke out of the range. We deviated. We reclaimed the range. Whenever you reclaim the range from below, what do I always say? It means you likely see range highs again. So the least I'm expecting range highs back to 4,100. Okay. That would be a huge move for altcoins. Love it. All-time highs, though, is at 4,800 on ETH. Well, with global liquidity being at all-time highs now, and it making sense for this cycle for ETH to see new all-time highs, especially with the catalysts of the staking ETF coming down the road, meaning that people can start to stake their Ethereum and their ETFs and earn a yield off of it. That's a difference from the Bitcoin ETF. You can't earn a yield on the Bitcoin ETF. So that's going to incentivize a ton of people to rotate liquidity into the Ethereum ETF in equity markets. Well, that's great news because it pumps the price of Ethereum. That's a catalyst that's coming down the road. Bear case, 5,700 on ETH this year. Base case, 8,500, cycle top. And then I won't work you guys up too much. We'll just leave it like that. I won't get you too excited. But these are my two looks for ETH on a larger time frame. This is on log, and this is the 4-year reaccumulation range again. Okay, I keep talking about this 4-year reaccumulation range on all these major assets because Bitcoin was in one since last cycle, and it's the only one that's broken out to new all-time highs. Ethereum is still within its 4-year reaccumulation range, meaning that it's still in this 0 right here, 0, 5, 1 range. This is just a massive range. Solana still doing what? 0.51. Massive 4-year reaccumulation range. Still has not broken out to new all-time highs. BNB. $0.51 from last cycle, February 21, right? Massive 4-year reaccumulation range, doing basically what Bitcoin was doing in the summertime of last year, pressing up against previous all-time highs, but hasn't broken out yet. That's how you know alt season hasn't happened yet. This hasn't broken out to new highs. This hasn't broken out to new highs. Bitcoin has. Four-year reaccumulation range on Bitcoin was right here. 0.51. Doing what BNB is at right now. And then broke out. ETH hasn't broken out. BNB hasn't broken out yet. Solana hasn't broken out yet. XRP. Whoops. Right. XRP would be right here. XRP is actually ranging right in there. So XRP did break out. Look. So 1 broke out. Who could have foreseen? 1.618 fib. Guess where XRP topped out at? Fibs work. Fibs work. Topped out at where? Right at the 1.618. That's when you knew. All right, we're topped on XRP. Take profits. Turn the top of the range into support. Next leg up, this is going to the 2.618, so you probably get about $4.60 on XRP. Okay? So this is what I'm looking at on a higher time frame, saying, all right, it's just not over. And we're going to print. We're going to print, ladies and gentlemen. So anyways, that's pretty much all we want to take a look at. Just quick updates on everything. Questions, comments, concerns in the chat. Anything you guys want to look at. How to join the Taylor's code. How to get on Hyperliquid. What do you guys need? Okay. Let me pull this up. Thank you, Naeem. Thank you, Naeem. Let's do live scene. Okay. Anyways, if you're not already inside the Taylor's code, you're making a massive mistake. You can't afford a financial catastrophe of that level to be outside of the Taylor's code. If you want to become wealthy, if you want to learn how to actually make money, if you want to learn how to navigate these markets with individuals like myself and the other men that are investing with us inside, then it'll be a good investment for you. You can't look at yourself and say you're an investor in equity markets, crypto, whatever, fucking fugaz currency. You can't say you're an investor if you're not willing to put $50, $100 a month into your education on technical analysis, being around people who are making money at the highest levels, being around people who've been in these markets for years. You can't say that you're an investor then. If you don't see the value in doing that, then are you really investing or are you just afraid? $100 a month to become a part of the network for the ultimate professional, become a part of the university for the ultimate professional. That $100 a month is literally going to make you, depending on the size of your portfolio, another $100,000, another $1 million, another $50,000 that you wouldn't have made this cycle if you didn't know when to exit, when to enter, what to buy, what to sell, etc. That $100 a month will make you exponentials on your investment this cycle, just because you're going to know where we're heading. Everybody knows where they want to get to. Everybody knows the destination. The problem is you can't get there if you don't have a fucking map on how to get there. If you don't have a car on how to get there. You can dream up the city of El Dorado and know that there's a city of gold out there and there's all these riches and wealth and amazingness. But if you don't know how to get there, and you don't know where it's at, how the fuck are you going to benefit from that city? How are you going to benefit from the money that could be made? You can't. So let me provide you the roadmap. Let me provide you the vehicle. And let me help you get there. Okay? Gentlemen inside the Discord already, appreciate you guys. We're fucking killing it right now. We're going to continue to kill it the rest of this summer and the rest of this year. Link is in the description for the Taylor's Code, the website. That's how you get into the private Discord. So go to the website, join as a gentleman, join as a professional, join as a hero. If you want specifically access to my portfolio, what I'm buying, what I'm selling, when I'm doing it, personal, private calls in the Discord, showing you things that you guys want to learn. If you want access to all of that, make sure you join as a gentleman so you have access to the private crypto plays within the Discord, and you'll be able to rock with us, okay? Paxter, appreciate you giving me the vote of confidence, saying that it's worth it, and I appreciate you guys too. All right, we're going to fucking win, gentlemen. My team's always going to be the winning team. So if you want to win, I suggest you join our team. I don't lose. I just win. So if you're around me, guess what? You're going to do the same thing. Okay? That is a promise. We're going to win. So you just make the decision. Do you want to be on the winning team or do you want to lose? Simple choice. All right, guys. Appreciate you, Mr. Producer. Stream ending. We'll see you guys on... we'll see you on Monday for the next Ultimate Professionals. Saturday for the university meeting where I'm going to come on to YouTube and give you juice on a topic that we decide to go over. Okay? All right. Mr. Producer, we got all them hoes. Mr. Producer, we got all them hoes.